I do not have a Chiefs jersey.
Who's the last pro jersey you bought?
Boy.
Sid Luckman?
Yeah, it's been a few years. Should be a good game.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Hey, the guys were talking about down the stretch in Game 1 against Villanova that at times you resorted to hero ball and that really hurt you down the stretch. It seems like they really understood that and you've made amends and learned a lesson there. What did you guys learn down the stretch there?
Well, we had some really uncharacteristic turnovers during a stretch where we really had a chance to create some separation with 5 or 6 minutes left. And Villanova wins because they don't beat themselves. And if you make mistakes, you really play into their hands. So, I think that first and foremost, we have to take care of the basketball and make sure that they don't get easy stuff as a result of our mistakes. And they're terrific. They're playing great defensively. They really seem to have taken their group to another level. So we have to go in and play as mistake-proof as we possibly can.
Think about what this would do for your resume? Your resume already in good shape, but is it too early to think about what this would do for your resume?
You're asking for trouble if you start thinking about that. Just one game at a time and, try to prepare your team the best we can and, see what happens. We've been fortunate that we've been able to go on the road and get some wins, which is hard to do in this league. So, we've got a heck of a challenge Saturday and then followed up by another one at Providence on Wednesday.
Some coaches like to give as much information about that as possible. Why do you prefer to just focus on the day itself?
I just think you live in the moment. I think that's I think that's the best approach. I think anytime you start to get ahead of yourself, you lose focus on the task at hand. And we're trying to keep these guys as much into today as we possibly can. And the importance of this practice and tomorrow's practice in preparation for what's going to happen on Saturday at noon in Philadelphia. So, that approach has been good for us, and hopefully it'll continue to serve us well as we move forward.
Do you think this week off between games kind of came at a good time for your team, given you got a number of road games coming up?
Yeah, we've been riding some guys pretty hard, so I think the fact that we were able to get them a little bit of rest and get off their feet hopefully gives them a little shot in the arm as we move into the final stretch of conference play. So it had been a long grind for them going all the way back to really, Oklahoma, Arizona State, and then into conference play. So to be able to catch your breath and maybe refocus a little bit on academics, spend a lot of time in the training room with your rehab and recovery, and hopefully they're in good shape as we move forward.
With the All-Access game on Sunday, kind of gave viewers a chance to see some nuances that you wouldn't normally see unless you're actually in the huddle. And there was one in particular where Mitch where you guys messed up the post coverage and gave up a bucket to Fremantle, I think. And Mitch kind of explained why that was his bad and everything. And I wonder, just from your perspective, how typical is that of Mitch to kind of be, the eye contact was there, the detail was there in terms of what he messed up, and how unique is that of a leader to be that?
I don't think it's unique of a good leader. I think guys that embrace that role understand that there has to be a level of accountability. If you're going to attempt to hold your teammates accountable, you better hold yourself accountable. And Mitch certainly falls into that category of guys that are outstanding leaders. And that was one example of something he does to put the onus on his shoulders and take it off his teammates' shoulders when a mistake is made. And we've been fortunate that our leadership group has been really strong in that regard.
Did you like that? Did you always know that a mic was on, or did you kind of forget about it after a while?
I think you're cognizant of it. And I didn't want all of our stuff out there for everybody to hear and see, so we were careful in trying to at least disguise some of what we were doing and how we did it. But it is kind of who we are. I'm not a big yeller and screamer on the sideline, and trying to get the guys' minds right, get them ready for the next play is an important part of what we do on the bench.
The fact you guys are staying out there through the weekend, can that be beneficial? The fact that coaches, you guys get them the whole day for the next few days?
Yeah, really the only benefit we'd have is they could go to class on Monday, because the reality of it would be taken off and leaving again on Tuesday. So, it's a long trip. There's no question. But we think it's in our best interest. And last time we did, we won the first one and lost to Georgetown. So hopefully we can do a little better job of it this time around.
When did you first notice that trait in Mitch? Just his ability to, not be afraid to be accountable for himself, because he probably feels like in most situations, especially as a young player, you feel like maybe there's a little bit of an element of fear there, but he seems like he's not worried about the backlash. He just kind of
Mitch has always kind of been about everybody else. I mean, it's just who he is, and he's incredibly unselfish, and that's just another example of serving others and being a person for others. And Mitch has been a shining example of that from the jump. And I think as he's moved into more of a leadership role on this team, I think he's verbalized it more than maybe he did before. But Mitch has never been a guy that's been afraid to admit that he made a mistake, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Hey Max, do you notice any great difference between the first time you play a team and the second time? Mitch says it's kind of you stick with what you do, and your opponents usually do the same. Is that what you've seen?
Well, you try to evaluate what worked, what didn't, and if it didn't work, was it because of something they did or something that we didn't do well enough? And Coach Wright's doing the same thing with their prep on us. So there'll be some subtle changes into our approach, but the reality of it with Villanova, you got to guard them one-on-one. You got to guard the dribble. You got to get to the shooters. They're going to post a number of guys and back you down and try to spread you out, and then they don't make a lot of mistakes. So. We just have to be a better version of ourselves than we were the first time.
Last year, mid-February, you kind of like sort of got a hot streak going and kind of found your groove, and that improvement that you said you expected all year, it showed itself. What enabled that, do you think, and how do you sort of try to cultivate a similar sort of track of improvement this year too?
Well, sometimes it's a matter of who you play and where you play them. And how your schedule falls that allows you to have a run like that. Who's healthy, who's not. We've been relatively blessed, since the start of the season when we lost Davion and Jake, that we haven't had a bunch of guys lose games to injury or illness. That has to continue for us to continue to be successful, because we just don't have a lot of depth. But you think if you're working and you're talking about daily improvement, and you take that to heart, you should. Generally speaking, you should get better as the season goes on. If you're walking into the locker room and putting your shoes on and crossing a day off the calendar, then you're probably not going to improve much. You got to come out here with a mindset that you're going to get better, and if you do that, you should be a better team in February than you were in December.
Greg, the home court advantage over Villanova, is that the toughest place to play in the Big East?
Well, there's a lot of tough places to play. We're at Wells Fargo, which is at least it's a little bigger place, and they're not breathing down your necks like they are at the Pavilion on campus. But we played at Butler, was full. Xavier was full. Villanova will have a great crowd on Saturday afternoon. So we've done it before. You just got to go in and you have to be ready, and you have to try to limit their runs the best you can, because if you can limit runs, then the crowd doesn't really get into the game. It's when they hit you again, and then that place gets at a fever pitch, and it's hard to reverse it.
Thanks, Coach. Good. That first meeting against Villanova, since then you guys have ripped off like 4 or 5. What'd you learn out of that experience down the stretch?
History is repeating itself. I mean, from the past couple of years, we were in that situation a lot. We'd play well for 37 or 38 minutes, and then we wouldn't finish the last 2 or 3. So we really just looked at what we were doing, and a lot of it was just the ball stopped moving. We just tried to play hero ball down the stretch, and most of us got together and we were like, hey, we just need to trust the way that we play for 40 minutes and just keep moving it. And when the ball moves and when the ball touches multiple sides of the floor, then we're pretty effective. So I'd say the last 4 or 5 games we've been pretty solid for 40 minutes doing that, and I think the results have spoken for themselves.
Define hero ball for us, for the layman.
It's just kind of like ISO. We'd hold the ball and the offense would be really stagnant, and it's really hard to guard. I mean, it's really easy to guard for the defense. So when the ball just sits in one guy's hand and we wait for a ball screen, and the ball doesn't move, the defense doesn't have to move. So the defense is loaded and looking at it. So down the stretch, we would do a lot of that. And the more we get away from that, the better we are, and the better the chances are for us to win down the stretch when we keep playing like who we are.
In terms of an opportunity, just big picture, what it means for the season, what it means to the standings, for the tournament resume, all that. How are you guys approaching this game on Saturday?
We don't really. I mean, honestly, we're not really thinking about resume. We haven't talked within ourselves about the tournament. We haven't thought about any of that. The only thing we think about is how we let the game slip away from us at home. And obviously, that game we controlled it for 37 or 38 minutes. In the last two, we were bad, like I said before. And I think it's just our focus is going to be a whole lot different as we start this 2-day prep Thursday, Friday before we head out to Philly. It's going to be a little different. Just more attention to detail and just finishing the game instead of playing that 38 that I talked about. Obviously, this game, like you said, I mean, it's a big game on the road. I don't know what they are, 6 or 8 or 10 or whatever they're at. And obviously, if you can go into someone's house that respected around the country and playing that well of basketball, then that's obviously a huge win for the tournament and for the resume and for the Big East standings. So hopefully we can take these details and take this game plan into Saturday and take care of business.
Does the fact that you outplayed them for 38 minutes already once give you a sense that you can repeat it? Because I mean, some teams go into Philly and kind of beat themselves before the ball is even jumped.
For sure.
Because of Villanova's recent history and the aura around that program.
For sure. Obviously, they're a well-respected program for good reason. Their culture they built around there that with Coach Wright is just off the charts, and everybody tries to replicate that, but it's tough to do. And they do a good job of just sticking to the game plan. They play 40 minutes of Villanova basketball, so they're not gonna come in. They're not gonna, especially at home. They're not gonna be at home and beat themselves. They're gonna stick true to their game plan and do what they have to do. So we have to bring our A game and bring our game plan and just do it for 40 minutes. And it's possible, like you said, we did it at home. We did it for 38, and we let things slip for the last two. So it's possible to do that, and teams were able to do that. I mean, last year we went to their place. We had them down to the wire with like 6 guys. So I mean, we're capable of doing so. We've shown it in the past. We just have to finish one.
Coach Mack said the other day that you guys, through all the bad parts earlier in the year, with Jake going down, Davion going down, you guys have stayed positive and kept a positive mentality. How tough was that, and where does that come from to stay positive when all the bad things were happening earlier in the year?
It's huge. It's crucial for the development of a team, especially like when we're adding some new pieces to the team and bringing back our core guys from last year. When you keep that mentality and you keep that mindset just in the positive area and in the right direction, then you can accomplish a lot of things with even when you lose a couple pieces that you hope to have to complete the puzzle that we're putting together. But like Max said, I mean, it's huge when we do that, and obviously we can't control those things. So it's at the end of the day, you have to control what you can control and figure out what you do have and if you can get the best out of the pieces that you do have and not think about the things that you don't have. Because at the end of the day, in reality, that's not our reality. We don't have Jake. So when stuff like that happens, you just have to turn to the controllables and see what you can do to maximize what you have and what you're working with.
This is you guys are staying out there, right? You're staying out east. You're not coming back.
Yeah.
So
unfortunately,
this is a classic. Maybe we can run this in between games. But what happens between the first game and the second game when meeting a team twice? Because you're going to meet Villanova twice. You're going to meet Providence.
Right.
Do you normally see a different team coming out because of the adjustments they make, or is it similar to what you saw in game one?
I'm sure it'll be some. I honestly don't know.
Like in the past, though, when you face a team a second time in general, do you
Right.
see a different team normally?
Every once in a while, sometimes, but for the most part, I mean, teams are pretty. I wouldn't say stubborn, but
Right.
kind of stubborn to what they know
Stick with
and what's been working with, and especially with a program like Villanova, they're going to stick with what they know. Obviously, they maintained us behind the three-point line the first game, and it worked for them. So I'm sure they're going to have a similar game plan on Saturday, and because it worked for them coming in here and taking a big W from us at home. So I'm sure that they'll keep it the same, and then I'm sure Providence will keep it the same as well. Just because I mean we're a smaller team, they think they can out-tough us. So at the end of the day, they're gonna go with what they know. It's not like a stubbornness, but kind of. I don't know.
They stick with their plan.
Stick with their plan. That's kind of the best answer I have for that.
You're climbing up the charts. I don't know. Probably not the time to reflect, but you topped the 200 three-pointers in your career. You're moving up the chart. I think you're 8 away from the top 5 in program history. You think about any of that?
No, honestly, I didn't even know these were stats until Rob tags me on Twitter. so Rob's the guru. He picks out the stats, and we were just trying to pick out Super Bowl viewing. So just like those random stats, he knows what he's doing. But at the end of the day, like I talked about it with Matt and John, it's like not really. Like, I don't think about that stuff. Like, us as a unit and us as a group of 15 guys, we don't really care about all that stuff. We're just worried about winning games. So when you have guys that have that same approach and that same mindset, it makes the 15 guys you're playing with really fun because no one cares about their individual accolades. So I kind of stay that way. I don't really care. I don't even know what 200 and some now, I guess. But, I mean, I just have fun playing the game and having fun with these guys. So
Where are you guys going to be on Super Bowl time? You will be still in Philly, and you will be watching the game?
we will be watching the game. I'll definitely be tuned in.
Yeah. So the Chiefs have never won a Super Bowl in your lifetime.
I know.
Oh, they've never even been in one.
Yeah, there's a first time for everything, right?
I mean, how big of a deal is this?
Be.
I mean, for people who don't know, you're a huge Chiefs fan, but how big of a deal is this for you?
See, I don't think before 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have been able to answer this question, but going down to the AFC Championship game and watching the Chiefs play at home, I mean, those people just want it. I mean, you could just feel the energy in the stadium, and it's just bottled up for 50 years, and they just ready to just pop and blow. And it should be. I mean, they want it bad. I'm obviously not a diet. I'm not gonna lose sleep if the Chiefs lose on Sunday. I'll probably be a little sick, but some of those people will lose. I mean, they will be sick, and it's just an awesome team to follow, especially with the excitement on the offensive end and what they're doing on the defensive end. So fans are gonna be all in, and I think Miami's gonna be a good time.
Yeah. A lot of sick days Monday.
A lot of sick days.
Win or lose, you're
going to have
a lot of sick days.
Yeah, I might even call it a sick day on Monday.
Right.
No, I'm not that deep yet, but I appreciate you guys.
Cool. Thanks. Just a big puff your chest out stats that you have here, or no?
I mean, I guess
they
all shoot. They shoot really well, so I gotta tell them I dunk on them. But other than that, it's good. They pass me the ball a lot, so it's nice.
Hey, how big of a deal is this trip to Villanova, and what kind of resume boost could the road win and a top 10 team do for you guys?
Yeah, they're a great team. They're a great coach, and so when you're playing against great teams like that, it's always good to try to mark a W down against them. And so going in, we just want to go as hard as we can and show them what we got. And I think giving us our chance and situation that we're in, I think we'll be all right.
What do you think you guys are doing so well heading into this matchup?
I think we're moving the ball really well. Our team defense is really good right now, and also just staying together as a unit. I know with all the injuries we've come across, all of the season and everything like that, it's helped us build as a team and everything like that, and so staying together.
What did you learn? Is that something you learned maybe down the stretch when you didn't finish against Villanova? You essentially won 3 out of the last 4 or something. 4 out of 5 or something.
And so, when you don't win games on stretch like that, you got to regroup and figure out what your problem is. And so I think we figured it out, and we'll be ready to go.
What did Villanova do down the stretch there? Was it more you guys, or was it a combination of what they did and what you guys did?
It's a combination of both. They got us out of our game, slowed us down some, and so when you do that, we were a little stagnant when we were playing, and they were able to execute what they had to do, and that's how they got the win.
Yeah, Mitch called it hero ball. You guys have resorted to hero ball. Is that something that strikes a chord with you? Like you can't do that?
Yeah, exactly. When one person tries to take over at the end of the game, it tends to happen. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes it goes bad, but it's never really too consistent. So if we stick together, we'll be consistent.
Chiefs, come on. What do you give us? The Chiefs have never won. They've never been in a Super Bowl
I'm
in your
so
lifetime.
happy about this. It's crazy.
How much attention do you pay to this?
Oh, I'm all in for it. I got my Chiefs gear ready. I'm bringing my jersey down to Philly and everything like that. So I'm gonna be supporting my boys.
What number do you? What jersey?
It's
do
a
you wear?
Patrick Mahomes jersey. You already know, 15.
Do you wear the headband too?
I need to get one. I got one, so I'm gonna try to look just like him. Hopefully the luck carries over with us.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate you guys.